Hello, how are you? It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I am here live, Andrew Odom, Tiny Revolution. I'm here live with some Keebler, Chips Deluxe, and a cup of coffee, which looks a little old, and I say that because the cream has turned into, like, I don't know, white floating dots or something of that nature. It tastes all right, though, so I'm going to go with it. I want to thank you all for coming to tonight's live chat. I know it's a Friday night, which means many of you are getting ready to go out and get your date on or do whatever it is you do on a Friday night. I am not. I'm a bachelor this weekend. My girls are gone out of town, and so I am home alone, which doesn't really mean anything exciting, except for the fact that I'm going to attempt to get a lot of work done. Whether or not that happens, we'll see. But we've got a funny story. For those of you who joined us on the last live feed, you know, we suffered at the beginning with a weak connection. All right, and I couldn't find a connection that was good, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Problem after problem. Well, funny thing is, I'm sitting at the dining room table this time, not at my desk, and I am literally, about from here to where my fingertips are, literally that far away from the router that I'm connected to with this smartphone. And it says at the top of the screen, I wish you could read it, it says, "Your connection is weak." How is that possible? How is it possible? I just don't get it. So Carrie Richardson says, "I was just heading out for a quick hike. Why you got to go live right now trying to sabotage my exercise?" No, my dear, this would be sabotaging your exercise. Me doing a live Facebook is not. So I'm going to save your exercise by opening this bag of chocolate chip cookies and eating some myself and not sharing with you. That way I'm not sabotaging your exercise. So let me just try one of these out. Let's see here. They smell good. As I told you just a few minutes ago, I'm a bachelor this weekend, which means my diet may suffer just a touch. Do I care, though? No, I don't care. Does my wife care? Probably. Is she here to stop me? She is not. So here I go. First one. Oh, yeah. Carrie, I am saving you by eating this cookie because this cookie would sabotage your exercise. So consider me to be looking out for you. Okay? All right, let's go over the rules of this live broadcast here. We've got a giveaway tonight, of course. We're only going to do the giveaway if we hit 15 people, so we definitely need 15 people for that giveaway. Tonight's giveaway, I'll go ahead and tell you, it's 2 tickets, 3-day pass tickets to the Tiny House Jamboree next weekend, so you will definitely want to stick around for that. We're going to be talking tonight about who and what will be at the Tiny House Jamboree. I don't think anyone other than the Tiny House Jamboree page has really mentioned who's going to be present, so we're going to talk about that some, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. We're going to do some Q&As. I'm not going to hold off until a Q&A time, though. I'm going to say anytime you have a question, please feel free to just put those down in the comments, and we'll do it. Christy, thank you for recording this for my wife. Number one, she would never, ever listen to one of these. She simply would not waste her time listening to me yap. She definitely listens to me enough. And secondly, no, there's just one thing. So at any rate, the Jamboree is in Colorado Springs, Colorado, Christy. It was held there last year. there was an estimate, a gate count of 45,000 people. I would imagine they're going to be expecting a very similar audience this year. It is being held at the United States Air Force Academy. How about them apples? United States Air Force Academy campus. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So anyway, it should be interesting because last year it was at the Miners Museum and it was a bit crowded in the facility. So it'll be nice to have a larger facility and and more kind of space to get around. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. First of all, anyone have any questions to start this off? Anyone want to make sure I address anything regarding the Tiny House Jamboree before we really get started? Anyone? Bueller? I like to say that a lot, don't I? I'm not even like a Ferris Bueller fan. I just kind of say that a lot, and I don't know why. But I do. Let's see. I have an email that I wanted to use to go by. So let me just find that real quick. I unfortunately trashed it. Any of y'all do that? Do any of y'all just trash emails and later on you're like, why did I do that? Well, I do it all the time. Hey, Mike Bedsole. Guys, Mike Bedsole is here. I think I introduced him last time, Tiny House Chattanooga. We put up a video today. Mike and I did a video together, and we put that up. It is just it's a teaser video for what he's bringing to the Jamboree, which is the Lookout. It is a very, very, very cool tiny house. It's one of the first times I've seen a tour of a tiny house on video where I was kind of taken aback. Like I could not believe that this was a tiny house. I mean, the storage, the way the bedroom, which is not a loft, it's kind of a platform with a couple of steps up to it. 6-foot high ceiling, which means that I could almost stand completely up in it, which is, I mean, unheard of. And then there's this shower that is made with tiger wood, which is a beautiful, beautiful wood. I've not done too much looking at it, too much looking up about it, some research, but I do know, I was able to see the grain pattern. It's just absolutely beautiful. So, yeah. So make sure during the course of this video, we're going to go over some ground rules real quick. If you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the comments. If you have responses, put those in the comments too. At any time during the video, feel free to give us a thumbs up or any other sort of little, emoticon thingy. That would be great. That way we know what's going on. So anyway, yeah, great to have you all here. Let me just invite a couple of people that I see on my Facebook chat. In fact, let's spend a minute. Everybody look at your Facebook little chat and see if there's anybody you want to invite here. Yeah. I would love for some of these folks to show up. Hey, from Kamloops, British Columbia. Patricia Veneer says, hi from Kamloops, British Columbia. I'm going to look up Kamloops real quick. Anybody offhand know where Kamloops is? I certainly do not. City of Kamloops. It is a Canadian city in British Columbia where the North and South Thompson rivers meet. Patricia, it says that cougars and bears are prevalent in the community. I'm not sure I want to live there. I'm not a big fan of cougars or bears, so I'm going to kind of avoid that. Hey, so Mike Bedsole, as you can read the comments on the side while we're having this chat, he says he's working on the tiny house now, just finished coating the butcher block counters and shelves. If you don't know what butcher block is, let me tell you real quick. Butcher block is beautiful wood, usually thick. It gets its name because it's what butchers used to chop meat up on, so it's extremely hard. It wears well. Mike's probably coating it so that it doesn't get, so that it stays sanitary when you use, when you cut food and deal with food on top of it. Mike, are you using an oil or are you using a finish, a food grade? What are you using for that? Tell us in the comments while I have a cookie break. Mike's not responding, but I'm certainly eating a cookie. So I'm not real concerned about his response when I have a cookie. Anybody else want one? I'm being so rude. Anybody want a cookie? Cookie? These are overly processed cookies made in the Keebler factory by little people. See, I'm politically correct. They're little people. And they make these chocolate cookies. So, hey, let's move on. Let's talk about what's going on at the Tiny House Jamboree. So, for those of you who don't know, Tiny House Jamboree, this is the second year that it's happened. This year it's happening at the United States Air Force Academy. That's August 5th through the 7th, 2016. It is going to have, I think, I think they're expecting about 30 to 35 tiny houses. I'm not entirely sure what the count is, but it's a lot. And also a ton of speakers, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But let me give you the rundown of the builders that are going to be present. Of course, Eco Cabins. Eco Cabins is one of the sponsors of the Tiny House Jamboree. Global Green Concepts is going to be there with 2 houses. Airstream, for the first year, Airstream is going to be present with some of their models. That's very cool. Let me see in the comments, anyone an Airstream fan? I am definitely an Airstream fan. I prefer Airstreams prior to about 1972. That's when I call it quits, is around 72. But I'm really fond of the units that have come out since 2013 as well, because they have a lot of modern amenities and innovation. So I'm pretty excited to see some of these Airstreams. Christy says, we got better than a cookie. We have a wedding anniversary large cupcake. Christy, are you celebrating an anniversary? Tell us if you're celebrating an anniversary. Because if you are, happy anniversary. Moving on. Simplicity Tiny Homes. They were there last year. Anyone familiar with Simplicity? Beautiful homes. We saw 1 last year. This year they're going to have 2. Let's see, who else? Tiny by Design. Now, I'm not... 10 years. Well, congratulations to you, Christy. Happy 10-year anniversary. That's really exciting, 10 years. I guess it's going to work out, you know? Seems like it. After 10 years, it seems like it's going to work out. I'm going to look up Tiny House by Design for y'all because I'm not real sure who that is. I mean, I probably do know who it is, but I don't know. Let's see. Tiny House Design. Design a more resilient life. Huh. Tiny House Design. Is Tiny House Design? It is Michael Jansen. That is Michael Jansen. That's exactly what I thought was Michael Jansen. You know, Michael Jansen does some amazing SketchUp work. He's like the SketchUp genius. And he often has a lot of sales on his plans. So I did not know that he's going to be there. I've learned something new, which is, that's pretty cool. Sprout Tiny Homes is going to be there. So we're excited to see Sprout again. Volstruct. Volstruct is very cool. Mike Bedsole knows a lot about Volstruct. Volstruct is the rolled metal framing for tiny houses. Last year they brought a huge structure that was rolled metal framing. They're going to be there with 2 designs, so it'll be interesting to see what's happening in the world of bones of the tiny houses, because that's what they do, is they make bones. And of course, Tiny House Chattanooga, which is bringing the Outlook. That's the name of their model, the Outlook. Again, if you want to see a sneak peek video, go to the Tiny Revolution YouTube page. You can check out a sneak peek of that design. Rocky Mountain Custom Trailers. I'm not familiar with Rocky Mountain Custom Trailers. As far as I know, they're one of 2 trailer companies that are going to be out there this year that specialize in tiny house trailers. So I'm excited to see them, get to know them a little bit. Tiny Homes is going to be present. Tiny Homes, if you remember, we covered that in, I think they were Builders of the Month for Tiny House Magazine maybe 3 months ago or something like that. They specialize in RVIA certified tiny houses. So, of course, that's a very cool feature, that they are... that they're RVIA certified. That's becoming a major sticking point for a lot of builders. Mike says that the Lookout has steel frame in it. I knew Mike uses Volstruct for probably most of your builds, I think, at this point, Mike. So it makes very sense. It makes a lot of sense that the Lookout has that. And Carrie, yeah, Volstruct is going to be there. They're at a lot of shows, but it's because their product is incredible. And so we definitely want to pay attention to them. Tiny Homes, of course, is also, they're the tiny houses that build a lot of like fifth wheel camper looking tiny houses. And they're famous for having these slide outs, slide outs just like an RV does. I see a couple of questions. How long does the tiny house have to be to have a bedroom downstairs? Maria, my wife and I built a 30-foot long tiny house, and we were single level living. We had a queen size bed in our little bedroom that was downstairs in the back of the house. So there is really no length that you have to have. It's all about how you design it, what your design looks to be. So, it just is one of those things. I did a video not too long ago with, the name just escaped me all of a sudden. Give me a second and I'll tell you the name. Not Tiny Project. Who was it, guys? Think, Drew, think. Why can I not think, friends? Why can I not think? Let me go to photos. I'm looking in my files here. I got a ton of photos, y'all. Just a ton of photos. Tiny Lab. That's who it is. Tiny Lab. Tiny Lab has a beautiful tiny house. They were in Tiny House Magazine as well. They have a loft, but in their loft, it's actually like a sit-down sort of kitchen space with a booth, that sort of thing. And the bedroom is down on the first level. So it really is all about how intelligent your design is as to whether, what kind of bedroom situation you have. And Mike is saying, I love having a builder in the room with us. That's great. Tiny House Chattanooga is also RVIA certified. For those of you who don't know, that's the Recreation Vehicle Industry Association. So in other words, they are the official certification board for recreation vehicles. So if you have a tiny house that's RVIA certified, that means you can legally stay in any travel park or campground that there is. So that's a pretty important thing these days. You definitely want to try and stick in those, especially as you get past like 30 foot or whatever. You want to start looking for RVIA. That's also a way that you can get better funding or lending if you need to finance your tiny house, as well as insurance if you're RVIA certified. Maria, you're asking how big a truck do I need to tow a tiny house with downstairs bedroom? It all depends on the weight. I mean, absolutely depends on the weight. I mean, I would not tow any tiny house that's above 12 foot if I didn't have a 3/4 ton pickup or more. I always recommend, at least a 1 ton pickup that's got the gear ratio and the suspension to be able to handle the tongue weight of a tiny house. We did a post on Tiny Revolution some time ago, and there's a couple other good posts out there that talk about the weights and things for tiny houses, because you've got to be concerned with about 3 or 4 different weight qualifications. You've got your gross vehicle weight, you've got your tongue weight, you've got your loaded weight, you've got your cargo weight, and then you've got your dry weight. So you really have to pay attention to what the weight limits are and how they're going to play onto your suspension and to the torque and the towing capacity of your truck, for sure. So I hope that answers that some for you, Maria. Christy, so yeah, RVIA is a RV style park. I guess that's what you're asking. RVIA, Tennessee tiny homes are RVIA certified, but none of their tiny houses are big or look like, you know, kind of versions of a RV, if you will. They look like, you know, more traditional tiny houses. So, you know, it's a certification. It's about the building standards and the safety standards and that sort of thing, more than it is about the size or the style or anything like that. Is there a way to get RVIA certified if using a non-certified contractor, meaning showing proof? No. RVIA is a certification that the builder has to apply for, go through. And Mike, if you want to speak to this, please feel free to. Mike, of course, is in the room. He's from Tiny House Chattanooga, and he's RVIA certified. It's a process. It's not like someone can just, you know, fill out a piece of paper in there and show some credentials and be RVIA certified. There's actually a lot more to it. So, yeah, it's a bit of a tricky sort of situation. It's not something to be handled lightly by any means. Let's see. Okay, where were we? We were talking about, that's right, we were talking about the builders. Tiny Homes, I told you who that is. Tumbleweed's going to be there. Tumbleweed is bringing 3 different houses. I do not know what they're bringing. I've reached out to Steve at Tumbleweed to see what they're bringing, but I don't know offhand what they're bringing, so it'll be interesting to see. You know, they're making a lot different styles now. They're not just kind of stuck to what they were doing for so long. They're doing a lot of different things, so it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for Tumbleweed. Rocky Mountain Tiny Homes, that's kind of the local boy, you know, the hometown hero, if you will. Greg Parham of Rocky Mountain Tiny Homes. You know, he only makes 1 or 2 maybe tiny houses a year. I mean, it's not a big production at all, but the stuff he puts out is absolutely beautiful, beautiful stuff. So Mike's saying a 20-foot will weigh anywhere from 7,500 to 10,000 pounds. Lots of variables involved. We are shooting for 15,000 to 16,000 pounds with the 33-foot lookout. So, yeah, absolutely. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, weight starts accumulating right from the trailer. I mean, you're talking about trailer weight, then you're talking about your framing weight, and then for most things, you're talking about your sheathing weight, then you've got your siding weight. Inside, you've got your flooring weight, you've got everything else, your cabinets, your bed, so everything weighs something, so you have to keep that into consideration when you're thinking about towing. And it's not just about what kind of truck should I get for the tow, it's also about things like, do I feel comfortable towing? Have I ever towed anything before? You know, is my trailer set up correctly? Do I have electric brakes? Do I know how to operate electric brakes? Do I know how to change a tire on the road if I had to do so? There's a lot of things that go into that besides just choosing the right truck. And yeah, Mike's correct. So yes, you have to be a builder. A lot of qualifications there beyond just being, you know, a handyman or a subcontractor or something like that. And then you have to be voted in. So it's not, you know, it's not like this exclusive club, but at the same time, they want to keep their standards high, so they don't want to just let anyone achieve certification, because then the certification means nothing if you don't have qualified people. My longtime buddy Kevin Jokes is in the house. He just joined the room. Kevin is a homesteader. He's an urban homesteader, if you will, and he's actually the guy that did a lot of the film and video work of the early Tiny Revolution build, if you remember some of those funny videos, and then that very popular travel, Us on the Road, he shot that. So it's very cool to have him in the room. Welcome, my friend. He's telling us that his 32-foot camper weighs just under 7,000 pounds. Building a tiny house on average doubles the weight. Yeah. So when you're towing a camper, you have to keep in mind that they're not using 2x4s, they're using like a 2x2 kind of, using a lot of aluminum substrate, they're using less insulation than normal, and they're only using one skin. They're not using sheathing and then siding, they're just using that aluminum wrap. So yeah, that weight's going to add up quickly, and that's, I think, what a lot of people don't understand. Probably the most accurate RV in terms of RV weight versus tiny house weight would be if you're pulling a fifth wheel with multiple slides, because those slides are heavy. using the hydraulics and things. So that's probably a little bit more accurate, a little bit more on scale. But as far as a travel trailer, yeah, you are absolutely... Why does everyone say that, Carrie? I'm stopping myself. I'm never going to say it again. Yes, it's tuba fours. Tuba, as in the instrument. Boom, 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 boom. Why does everybody joke me about that? I know that there are at least 4 people in this room right now that say tuba fours. If you say tuba four, give me a thumbs up, because I know you're out there and you say tuba four. For those of you who happen to be Yankees in the room, it is 2x4. See my mouth? 2x4. But that ain't, hey, it's tuba fours. That's just it. So anyway, moving along. Mitch Craft Tiny Homes. Y'all know the story of Mitch Craft. He built his tiny house for he and his wife, or his partner, I think. It was a beautiful home. They ended up, getting a lot of notoriety for it. And so he decided, this is something I really enjoy doing. And so he's built a couple more. So I'm excited to see him. Hey, let's face it. They must be doing good, because it ain't cheap to bring your house to Tiny House Jamboree. So if you're bringing a house to show off, can't hide money, Mike Bedsole. You can't hide money. I'm just joking. I'm just being silly now. No, I'm excited to see. I'm actually really excited to see Mitch Craft, because they live in a tiny house. So they're coming from that angle of what would work for us. How would we live in it? That sort of thing. Then we've got Colorado Yurt Company. I love me some yurts. Love yurts. So I'm excited to see the yurt set up. I have this kind of dream. It's not really a dream. My wife and I talk about it a lot, that maybe one day when we kick this kid out of the house, that we might get a yurt, and live on our land, just in a yurt, not even a house. But then, then we decide, what, let's just get a van, live out of the van, travel, that sort of thing, whatever. But who knows? Yurts are cool. I'm excited to see them. Excited to see the setup. What's interesting, I think Colorado Yurt is who was there last year, and they actually assembled the yurt on site. So they started out with nothing, and then, put it together as the weekend wore on. So I'm excited about that. 84 Lumber Tiny Homes. Now, I'm sure that some people in the room remember several months ago a press release circulating about 84 Lumber Tiny Homes. 84 Lumber, of course, is a large lumber yard. I'm not sure what region. I think it's the Midwest, but it's their attempt at a tiny house, and they sell them everything from a shell to a complete version. So it'll be interesting to step into that and see how it works out compared to more of a custom build, or more of a build like what we're used to seeing in the tiny house world. Because I'm not sure if they're using the same materials, or if they're trying to do it, more like a traditional foundation home. I'm not real sure. Mike says we have them here in Chattanooga. Do we have 84 Lumbers in the South? Because we don't have them in North Carolina. In fact, we don't. We got some local lumber yards, because we have a large Mennonite population, so they do a lot of local milling. But I don't know. We don't have like a corporate lumber yard, unless you consider Lowe's. But I don't consider Lowe's. Maria says, I've heard that some people are using metal studs. Are they safe? Well, sure, they're safe. Absolutely. I mean, as safe as anything. It's all about the fasteners you use, how intelligent you are in terms of using metal studs, whether or not you understand weight ratios, whether or not you understand supports and how all of that works. So, yeah, metal studs are great. We even looked at metal studs when we built our tiny house, but we ultimately decided not to go with that, because we just didn't feel confident in it, and the expense was more than it would be at the time to purchase 2x4s. So we ended up not going with metal studs, but I know a lot of people using metal studs these days, and I think they're fine. I mean, I really do. Is the metal better than 2x4s? Better? Lighter. Let's say lighter. Lighter. Different. I don't know. I don't know, because I've only built one little thing out of metal 2x4s, or out of metal studs. And it was just a different process. I mean, you use screws to fasten them together. Now, Mike, you're saying your frames are 25% stronger. I buy that. I totally believe that. Do y'all use traditional metal studs that look, like a 2x4 in terms of having 90-degree angles? Or do y'all use like a rolled metal product? Like, how does that? I would love to hear from you. In fact, I encourage everyone in this room, if you're going to the Tiny House Jamboree, even if you're not, send an email or give a call. Talk to Mike Bedsole about using metal substructure for a tiny house, because he's been doing it a while now and he gets it. He understands the product. And so I am going to look for Mike at the Jamboree and talk to him about that, because I would like to answer questions like that a little more intelligently. So even if I just built a doghouse out of some metal, out of metal studs, at least I'd have an idea of how that works. Carrie says, metal is stronger and lighter than 2x4s. I'm going to start using my Boston accent. How's that, Carrie? How's that for a Boston accent? Yeah? Wicked cool. Ha! Hey, have y'all ever heard Deke Diedrichson talk? If you haven't, he's one of the speakers at the Jamboree. You got to check him out. He's from just outside of Boston, and he's got a wicked cool accent all the time. Yeah. That's all I know. Hey, Car Talk Radio. That's all I know about a Yankee accent is Car Talk Radio. Those guys trip me out. All right, so moving on. Tiny House Jamboree tabletop vendors. That's one of the coolest things is the tabletop vendors at the Jamboree. I'm going to run down the list. Pikes Peak Permaculture, Tiny House Teacher. That's Laura Higgins, Tiny House Teacher. For those of you who haven't checked out her website, definitely do that, tinyhouseteacher.com. She is pretty darn cool. She teaches some great online courses about minimizing your life, moving into a tiny house, decorating a tiny house. She's just got it down pat. Living large in our little house. Sunny Therm solar collectors. Perfect RV seating. Now that, I'm interested with that. So they're called, what did I just said? Perfect RV seating. Is there an imperfect RV seating? I mean, are they talking about like a recliner in an RV? Or are they talking about like an RV that you drive, like a Class B or something, and they're talking about like the captain's chairs while you drive? So I'm curious to see what kind of perfect RV seating there is. Tiny House Collective is going to be there. 90 lessons for living large in 90 square feet. The American Tiny House Association, Heroes Home, Colorado, Tiny House System. How many times can I say tiny while reading this list? Clean Up America, and then Bus Conversions Magazine. I'm not familiar with that magazine. Y'all know I'm the managing editor of Tiny House Magazine, so I'll be interested to swap war stories with Bus Conversions Magazine. Maybe I'll buy them out and own an enterprise. Tiny Nest Project, Tiny On. Kind of reminds me of Inspector Gadget. Like, are they going to walk around and be like, Tiny On, and just stand there and like strike a pose? Tiny On! Ho! I don't know. So, Tiny House Hunters is going to be there, of course. I think that's the television show. I don't know. Maybe they're having a casting call or something. Kim Castle just joined the conversation. Kim, weren't you on Tiny House Hunt? No, you were on Tiny House Big Lifestyle, or Little House Big Days, or Days of Our Tinies. I don't know. What is that show called that you were on? There's a magazine. Yes, Christy, there's a magazine. tinyhousemagazine.co. You will love it. You know what you'll love even more than just the magazine? A subscription to the magazine. You should get a subscription. See my head? You should get a subscription. We'll actually be there. Kent and I will be there. We'll have a little vendor table ourselves, so you should definitely check it out. Mike answered your question, Patricia, about cell phone insulation. I didn't even see your question, So I'm sorry that I didn't see that. I wouldn't have known. I don't know. I don't know what the question was. I can't find it now. Oh, hey Mike, is spray foam an option? Oh yeah, spray foam is definitely an option. All right, good. Moving right along. Let's see here. Where did my list go? My phone just said my storage is almost full. What's that got to do with anything? What am I storing? I don't get it. I'm not taking pictures right now, am I? No. Okay, and then more vendors. Gosh, y'all, there is probably 70, 80 vendors. Unbelievable. Tiny toters, you know, they tote tiny houses, obviously. Owned by Eco Cabins, you know, they trailer tiny houses all over the country. Turning Tiny, y'all may have heard me talk about Turning Tiny. If you may, let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a 576-page book that I project managed for the last 7 months of my life. Each chapter is done by a different tiny house luminary. There are 62 authors in total, so there's 62 wonderful stories all about the tiny house experience from various point of views. There's even some great op-eds in there. If you want to check that book out, you can go to turningtiny.com. Right now it's on sale for $25.95. It is a hardback book. It's a real book. It's like a book. It's not like let me go get my book. Here, have a cookie and hold on. Hang on. I'm coming, y'all. I'm coming back. I'm running. Here I am. Okay. Book. I told you it's a book. Look. Hardback book. Look at this thing. It's got words. Words in it. And every little chapter has a bio. It's got the title, who it's by, bio photo, and a bio. It's just a great book. Man, it's a great book. You got to get a copy of this. If you're at the Jamboree and you get a copy, every contributor to the book that's there will sign your copy, I guarantee. So definitely check that out. If you're not going to the Jamboree, then you'll want to order a copy at turningtiny.com. Let's keep going. Vendors. Backwoods Solar, Nature's Head. You know, they do toilets. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to use the toilet, see how it works. I'm not sure how that's going to work out for you. I don't even know if you'll be able to sit on the toilet, really, to try it out. Because, see, I got to tell you, that's what's always disturbed me about, like, Home Depot or Lowe's. If I'm going to spend $80 on a porcelain throne, I want to sit on it. I want to know what it's going to be like. I want to know how I'm going to feel on the toilet. I don't just want to buy the commode and take it home and be like, yeah, I guess it'll work. I want to check it out like I do every investment. But they're going to be there anyway. We'll see. If you see me at the Jamboree sitting on the toilet, please take a picture and send it to me. Let's see. Christy says, will the printed book be written backwards? It's absolutely written backwards. And in order to read it, you need to play the Beatles backwards as well. It's inspired by the film Helter Skelter, so you'll have to hold it to a mirror in order to read that. Coupon code for pre-ordering the book. Susan asks, not that I know of, but if you go on, it's $25. It's $25.95 with $5 flat shipping. Susan, if you go to order a book and it does not say that it's $25.95, contact me at andodom@gmail.com and I'll make sure you get it for $25.95. So don't worry about that. Angeline's going to be there. Of course, they're Andavia Roofing. You would think that I planted Mike Bedsole in this group here today, because Mike, if I'm not mistaken, the Lookout uses Andavia Roofing as well. I just built a barn 2 months ago, pretty sizable barn because I live on a little homestead type thing, and We used Andavia roofing, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm going to do a video real soon of how to install that because it's a piece of cake. It takes like 10 seconds. The whole video will be like 15 seconds long. Colorado Hammock's going to be there. United States Air Force is going to be there. Let's see. Relax Shacks, that's Deke Diedrichson. He's going to be there. Ragtime Kettle Corn is going to be there. Hey, I'm all for snacks. In fact, I think we need funnel cakes at the Jamboree. I'm going to start a campaign. What is that thing? Change.org. I'm going to start a change.org so we can get funnel cakes at the Jamboree. Let's see, separate. Y'all know what a separate is, right? Separate is the little thing that separates the liquid from the solid in your toilet. They'll be there. Again, I asked the question, will we be able to try the product out on site? LP Building Products. I'm a huge fan of LP Building Products. Y'all know that. Huge fan. So I'm excited to meet up with them again. Titan Home Builders will be there. Tiny House Build will be there. Trailer Made Trailers. And then this company called Elio Motors. Tiny little cars. I seriously doubt you will get a picture of me in one of these cars because I don't think I will fit in one. Little cars. Little. So they're going to be there as well, doing their thing. I don't know if you'll get to test drive one of their cars or just sit in it or just how that's going to work. I think it'd be fun to hook up a tiny house to one and see what tows what. Because I think maybe the tiny house would probably tow the car. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, those are the vendors. So that's what Mike says, I'll let you sit on the Nature's Head in their unit if I want. Sit only. Hey man, that's all I want to do is just sit on the commode. Just sit on it. Maybe. We're getting close to an hour. You guys have been with me. We've had multiple times the number of people that we needed in order to give away these tickets. So we're going to have a giveaway. We've got 2 tickets to the Tiny House Jamboree that we're going to give away. Let me see with your little emoticons. Is anyone interested in winning these tickets? Because if not, I won't give them out. Anybody want to win a couple of tickets? Anybody? Okay, I'm not going to give them out. Nobody cares. Speak now. Look, this is not the Mike Bedsole show. Don't be asking Mike all the questions. This is the last time I'm letting you in the room, Mike. Everybody wants to talk to you. Susan, you already got your tickets? You don't need to win any? You don't want to take a friend? Or an enemy? Lock them in the Elio car? She says give them to someone. I'm trying to give them to someone, but nobody wants them. What am I supposed to do? My bad. I'm just joking with you. I can't give them to anyone at the jam. It's not how it works. They're will call tickets. Christy, I wish you could go too. I'm sorry you can't go. Monty, you say you'd like to go. When you say you'd like to go, does that mean you could get there if you had tickets? Or does it mean you just would like to go, but you can't go this year? Val says, I don't even know you. Who don't you know? You don't know me? I'm not asking you to go to the Jamboree with me. Oh, Faye says she'd love to win tickets. Now people are talking. Christy, that's right, you do live in New Hampshire. I remember you saying that last time. Monty wants tickets. Faye wants to win tickets. Anybody else? I wish y'all could have some of these cookies with me. I would love to share my cookies with y'all. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Monty, if you truly want a set of tickets to the Tiny House Jamboree, all you need to do is email me at andodom@gmail.com. It's my way of saying thank you for being part of our live broadcast. Faye, Miss Faye, if I may call you Miss Faye. Miss Faye, if you would like to have 2 tickets to the Tiny House Jamboree, all you have to do is email me at andodom@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you get a couple of tickets to the Tiny House Jamboree 2016. Val is building a tiny house. She's all about learning. That's good. Mike Bedsole from Tiny House Chattanooga is in the room tonight. He is a plethora of information. So if you have questions, you should definitely contact him. If you're interested in not building a tiny house, maybe you want a shell, maybe you just want to start with the interior and not worry about the exterior, talk to Mike. He can hook you up. Are these sugar-free? Who eats sugar-free cookies? That is the silliest thing I've ever... Do you see how round my face is? Does this look like the face of a guy that eats sugar-free cookies? Seriously? No. Monty, it is awesome, and I'm happy I could give you tickets. Email me. We got about 6 minutes left before the end of this broadcast. I want to thank you all so much for being part of this tonight. I know it's Friday night. Some of you were going on a hike. You were going to exercise. Some of you were going to sit down and binge on Netflix and eat pizza. Some of you were going to take your dog for a walk, but you all decided to join us anyway, so I thank you for that. Pretty exciting. We'll probably be back sometime around Monday, maybe, of next week, because we got a couple more prizes to give out before I get on a plane and head to Colorado. And I do want to talk about 1 or 2 other topics. The next topic we're going to talk about in the next live is we're going to talk about shysters, scams, and tiny house frauds, because there's a lot of them out there, and I want you folks to really keep your eyes open for these sort of things, because I don't want you to be victim to somebody. They are out there. In fact, right now I'm in the middle of a cease and desist episode, because someone thought that it would be cool to start up a page called Tiny Revolution and even spell it the way we spelled it. Which, ordinarily I wouldn't be upset about, except for the fact that we trademarked that. So, it's kind of an issue. So we're going to check that out. So that's going to be our next one. We're going to talk about some shysters. And there's a lot of festivals and things going on that claim to have this, claim to have that, and they really don't. And I want to expose that. I'm not going to be calling names and pointing fingers, but I'm going to show you some signs to look out for and talk to you about how to do due diligence. So we're going to do that. Val, you had pizza, and then you watched me eat cookies. Well, I guess you had some sugar-free cookies then, didn't you? All right, so that's it. So those are the builders and vendors that are going to be present, excuse me, at Tiny House Jamboree. Don't forget, if you are headed to the Jamboree, when you travel, if you take any pictures and post them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, be sure to use the hashtag JamBound2016. That way we can all keep track of things, because that's going to be so cool. And when you get there, I'll be there on Thursday, so when you... Hey, Kim, why you keep throwing up the mean faces? I don't get it. What's going on? Now you got some hearts. Will you be wearing your pink polka dot bandana on your wrist at the Jamboree? I ain't got no idea what you're talking about, Carrie, but no, you are not going to see me wearing no pink polka dot nothing. Ain't happening. Yeah, Mike, I'll sign your copy, you sign mine. For sure, for sure. So let's go ahead and say goodbye to each other. My friends, I bid you adieu. Good night. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, email me at andodom@gmail.com or visit us on the website, www.tinyrevolution.us. You can also check us out on Instagram at instagram.com/tinyrevolution. All right, my friends, have a good night. Take care. We'll see you next time.